All right, guys, welcome to the post ADU recap. This is coming up on over a week since the race, and
Crazy.
I figured it'd be a good idea to just do like a little recap with Jen, my fiance and crew chief, so we could share with you guys in detail how the race went, because this is ultimately what this whole series was about, was Anchor Down. So we will get started. The day started Friday afternoon. We headed down to set up our camp. We were in Tent Village. A lot of people got there early to race down to get their spot, as it's very important where you set up camp. You want to be right on the path heading into the woods. You don't want to be too far back because that adds extra steps, and you want to try to be in the shade. So, I'll let you share a little bit about how that process went.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, when we pulled up, even before we got out of the car, you had pointed out where we were aiming for, and came in with a really solid plan of, where we want to be and how we were going to get there. And the way it goes is that people get there and wait with their stuff until 2 o'clock, and then at 2, it's like a free-for-all. And so Alex... Well, should I say Alex?
Yeah.
I don't know if I say Alex or you. Alex booked it, hardcore booked it with our wagon, and we had a tote in the wagon, and he just ran. And I think that was a big advantage of him being a fast road runner. It really paid off at that moment, because
That's why we do track workouts.
Yeah, he was hauling ass.
Yeah. So basically, it's very competitive where you line up. So people start kind of creeping toward Tent Village, and then they're like, all right, go. Or some people leave before they say that. So I just instinctively just sprinted to get my spot, and I, in my opinion, got the best spot possible. So we set up our big tent, our pop-up tent, and then we also set up a sleeping tent for Jen. We had never set up the sleeping tent before, so that was a bit of a learning curve, and we're just not outdoorsy, to be honest. I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I'm not great at setting up a tent, a pop-up tent or a sleeping tent. So that was, people around us are popped up, their tents are up and standing within 2 minutes, and we were out there battling for 30-40 minutes. So
but we did it.
We did it. Then we just got to catch up with a lot of people. We caught up with Nicole, who has been a consistent watcher, listener of this channel. So shout out to you, Nicole. It was so nice to finally meet you. We got to see Maurice. We got to see Ted. We got to see Candace, the On the Runs crew. Erica specifically. Eric will catch you next time. Got to see Sarah. We got to see tons of other people, and so it was really fun, just seeing everyone in person. But at the same time, we had things to do.
Yeah.
We brought all of our stuff, but we still needed to get ice. We still needed to get some drinks, some food. So we didn't want to miss the bib check-in time. We wanted to be in line early because we heard the lines could get long for that. So we raced on over to what was it called, Clements?
Yeah, Clements Market.
Clements Market, and there we picked up 2 huge bags of ice. We picked up some cold
16
cuts.
pounders.
Yes, very heavy. Jen was wise enough to get 2. I said we'd be good with 1. She said let's get 2. I said let's get 2.
Mm-hmm.
So then we we get some cold cuts, some assorted meat, some very delicious rolls to make sandwiches, etc., etc. So the real interesting part of this side quest to get stuff at the store was when we were in the car, we saw this old woman talking to a van next to us, and we couldn't really see in the van, but upon further investigation, we saw that there was a child, a little girl who was stuck in the van. Meanwhile, it's 85 degrees out, and this girl is trapped, and it seemed like this old woman kind of had it under control. She had her phone out and she was trying to make calls, but you don't know how long the kid has been in the car.
At least 15 minutes.
Yeah, time's important in a scenario like this. You don't want anyone to get heat stroke. So I just instinctively, someone is doing construction work right next to us, but that's okay. I'll speak louder. So I just booked it inside and just announced to everyone, there's a child in that white van who's stuck. can we make an announcement to get her mom out here? So within a minute, the mom showed up and she ran out and, you know, got the kid out of the car. So that was good, thank God. But like, come on guys, we could be better than that, you know? Crack the windows, open the windows, leave the doors unlocked. You know, it was a bit of a stressful situation, but it got me out of my own head, and I was happy. We were happy to help out this child amidst, you know, getting ready for this huge race. So that was a fun little / scary moment leading up to the start of the race. Then, you know, we get back, and now it's just time to just get ready. I got the bib, I set everything up, I got dressed, and then I just took a nap for like 30, 45 minutes, and you know, Jen basically just got everything ready, and it was, you know, just wait for the start. Anything else?
I feel like that's the most. I was very impressed at how quickly you were able to fall asleep, but that's a real strength of yours.
I'm a very good sleeper, very good napper, actually, I would say. So now comes the announcements. Jay, the race director, did a great job, you know, kind of corralling everyone together, making the big announcements, getting everyone fired up, thanking everyone. So that was cool. And then lined up, and it was go time. I had a very conservative race plan. I think I'd shared in previous videos, you know, I was looking to do, you know, a walk-run strategy, 8-minute jog, 2-minute walk. And I knew that everyone was going to be coming out of the gate hot. So when 8 minutes came and it was time for me to walk, I definitely had that feeling of, you know, being humbled a little bit, just seeing everyone run by. I felt almost a little embarrassed, but I knew that this was going to pay off, and that the next day I was going to be running strong, so I predicted. So yeah, beautiful sunset, actually amazing sunset. I left my phone with Jen, so I didn't get a chance to really capture it, but I got it up here, stayed in the moment, and just was taking it easy, you know, and following the plan. How did I look in the beginning?
Smart.
Good.
You were running smart. Very, very smart.
Good.
Which isn't easy at the beginning.
Yeah. So we're talking 11, 12-minute miles. Wanted to stay consistent. We wanted the laps to be around 28 to 29 minutes. I don't think I ever did a 29-minute loop until the next day, but we were doing around 27 to 28.
Yep.
A couple 25s, 26s, but I was feeling good. Sticking to my hydration. It's also weird too in the beginning of a race like that to just like already start fueling up, but I knew that I needed to stay ahead of my hydration, my carb intake, all that good stuff, so that I wouldn't crash before. So yeah, my plan was for the first third of the race to be comfortable. I wanted to be comfortable, feeling comfortable overnight into the morning. I wanted to start building confidence from about 6 a.m. till 1 p.m. and then the last 6 hours of the race I wanted to compete, and that's Coach Chris's race strategy for all distances, the 3 C's: comfortable, confident, compete. So I just figured, you know, even though it's a long distance, we can still apply the same principles, and he recommended that too, of course. We can still apply the same concept to a 24-hour race. So yeah, some other struggles I guess that happened, or you know, during the overnight. It was pretty smooth, but you know, my headlamp, I didn't have a great headlamp. I had 4 different lights, but none of them were like that effective, so that's on me. I should have like invested in a better lamp, but basically the one that I liked the best was like kind of cheap and a little old, and as soon as I grabbed it and took it, it broke. I mean, like, I knew stuff was gonna like happen during the race, but you know, it was a little bit of a bummer that on the first lap I really needed the headlamp. It broke. So when I came back around, and I still had the light, it's just like the shell around it, I don't know, it just was, there's wires hanging. It was a mess. So I came back and I traded one out with Jen, and I said, you got surgery to do, you got to fix this headlamp, please.
I was gonna say, you didn't say it like that.
Yeah. So she was kind enough to, in the dark, fix the headlamp, do quick surgery on it, apply some tape, and it was good as new. And then I could see much better, because the visibility, although there was a full moon, was not great. I saw a lot of people falling, people, you know, tripping on rocks, roots. Some woman fell right next to me, and it was like kind of a bad fall. I stopped and helped her up and made sure she was okay, but like not ideal at the beginning of a race to be falling like that. So you need to slow it down, make sure you have good lighting. So that's something that I can learn for next time. I also had my first shoe change around 16 miles, which was a little sooner than expected. I felt like I was in the wrong shoes. The shoes I was wearing were the Saucony Tempest, and my shins were just on fire, like shin splint pain right in the inner side of my shin. And to me, whenever that happens, it's because the shoes are worn out. And I definitely made sure that these shoes were worn in, but they probably were a little too worn in. So I said, let's put on the comfiest pair of shoes that I own, which are the Mizuno Neo Zens. They are like a cushiony cloud marshmallow. Okay, these things are like the best road shoes ever, but they're not the best on the trail. I thought that they could work for me on the trail, and they did, until they didn't. So we'll get to that later, but yeah, I had to change the shoes, and ultimately the first third was pretty smooth.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was a well-oiled machine.
Sweet. Okay. Now comes the middle third of the race, so like 6 a.m. to noon. And this is when I definitely started to feel some adversity, some resistance. This is the part of the race where I was supposed to build confidence. I wouldn't say that was the case. The main thing really was two things actually, health-wise, where my knees started to kill. And that was, in hindsight, because of the shoes that I had chosen to wear. Wearing like a big cushiony shoe is not the best on trail. So like, this is a very rooty trail, even though it's half the course, it was very rooty. So every step was like a calculated step. And there was a lot of, obviously like peaks and valleys within the trail. Whatever reason, it wasn't good on my knees. And I've never really had knee pain running. So my knees, I could feel them every step, and they were starting to swell up a little bit, and it just was no good. So that was like just very defeating, and it just made it hard. Anytime you're in pain, it makes it tougher mentally and physically. And then another thing was the dust in the trail. While you couldn't really see it, I think that was causing me to have trouble breathing, because I was starting to wheeze and I couldn't get in like a good breath. And at the time I was like starting to quit around mile 75, 80, or at least I wanted to quit, and I felt like that was going to be the perfect excuse to quit. But thankfully, I had some help from Candace specifically and some of the medical staff, and they helped me get back out there and helped to clear my throat. One of the medical staff gave me an inhaler, so that was very helpful. And I changed my shoes to the Hoka Clifton 9s, which are like a old, reliable, trusty steed type shoe. So I figured that would have been helpful. And then I had a good friend show up, Drew, and that really helped as well. So felt like I was hitting a wall, hit some adversity, but those things really helped keep me going forward and just keep the ball rolling. What would you say? Like, how did I look in that middle third?
Yeah, you looked like you were, I think with any sort of long distance running, like especially ultra running, like, little dips are gonna happen, and I think that was a dip that you experienced. And you definitely were hurting, but I never doubted that you were gonna stop. I definitely thought that, you would keep going, and even though you weren't positive on that, that's just how you are. And you're gonna keep going, and it was helpful to have Drew, and everyone there was so helpful, and we believed in you, and you got through it.
Thank you. Yeah, I talked to Brendan at one point, who came in fourth this year. He's the reigning champion, and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Not good, man. Not good. And he said, "Hey, remember what we talked about before the race? Because when we were setting up our tents, we talked about how these long races, it's like a roller coaster. You got to ride the wave. You're gonna have lows, you're gonna have highs." And I was definitely at like the trough, the low point of a low. And hearing him say that and actually slow down as a fellow competitor and stop and walk with me and give me that insight was like meant the world to me, and also was really helpful. So thank you, Brendan, if you're watching this. You're an amazing runner, and you're a good dude for helping me out, because it really did shift my mindset and make me think like this will pass. and it did. So grateful for that. I guess now comes the last third of the race. So this is really from like noon till the end of the race. And at this point, Sammy, my pacer, Sammy knew, can you run it? Fellow Knight and Lion showed up, and he couldn't have come at a more perfect time. He showed up like a stud, just ready to go, singlet on, backpack, shoes tied, just like on a mission, ready to kick some ass. And he came at a time when I was just creeping out of this low. And, you know, I'm just so grateful that he showed up. He drove almost 3 hours each way to come and help me out. And he came like enthusiastic, great attitude, like ready to rock. And he was the unsung hero for sure of that day. And, you know, I wouldn't have finished third with 150 miles if it weren't for you, Sam. So thank you. And, you know, it was good to just have like that push, because I was like, you know, obviously slowing down, and Sammy as my pacer was just like 10 steps ahead and setting the pace as he does and as he's supposed to. But I did my best to keep up with him, and, you know, he made me laugh. He pushed me, pushed some buttons, you know, competitively that got me in the right state. So that was huge. My dad showed up, and anytime my dad shows up, that just always helps. You know, just he means so much to me. He's helped me my whole life, and I look up to him immensely. And he's, you know, really never missed a race. He's at every race, whether it's a 5K or marathon or a 24-hour event. He's there, and just seeing him and his girlfriend Linda there was really like a great push that I needed. I had early in the race told him that I didn't want him to come because I felt like I was failing, but he said he was going to come anyway, and he showed up at the perfect time. So thank you, Dad. Love you. Yeah, I mean, I felt like, you know, at this point I started to like work my way up the leaderboard. Everything still hurt the same. My knees still hurt. You know, my throat felt better, but I just was like exhausted, as one can imagine. But I just started to, you know, just like catch on up. I started peaking at the leaderboard. I was in like 7th and 5th, then I was in 4th, and then, you know, eventually I reached 3rd. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else?
No, I mean, I feel like, yeah, that's exactly how it went. And I think it's credit to your smart running. You know, I think that you were always like, in my mind, like you were going to work your way up no matter what. And by sticking to the plan, I think that's what really helped you make your way up. And then Sam coming at just the right time was what you needed to get up there. But it just made sense. Like, I just thought that your running was so smart that, you know, on your way up it was really exciting, but I really never had a doubt that you were gonna go up.
Thank
You're
you.
running smart.
Yeah, and you know, gotta give credit to the plan set by Coach Chris, like starting out slow, finishing a little bit faster. You know, once I reached 100 miles, I felt like it was like really now like I was competing. When I was at my low point, my goal was to just get 100 miles, and I kept saying, I just want 100, I just want 100. But then once I got 100 and I had like 3 hours left, it was like, all right, let's see how many I can get. And so it was just about competing, trying to catch the next person and not let the people behind me catch up. And so I felt like I was getting stronger as the race went on. The momentum was building. I started to pass people ahead of me. There was a couple guys, you know, Jason, Chris, Dwight, you know, they were like a couple laps ahead of me, but I started to lap them. So I was really like making, you know, dents in the deficit there, and I was like really catching up. And I thought that maybe there was a chance for 2nd place, but hats off to Dwight. What a runner he is, what a gamer, competitor, you know, fighter he is. He never took his foot off the gas and made it impossible for me to catch him. He worked so hard, and he's such a good dude. I've seen him at other races before, and it was really nice to get to know him a little bit, share some miles with him, and congratulations on 2nd. And then Jason was just a machine out there. Was in the lead almost the whole day. Looked strong the whole time. Toward the end, I guess he was fading a bit, but he never looked weak or anything. He was going, and he made it really hard for anyone to catch him. So he finished with 122, Dwight 120, and then me 115. So I was so happy to cross the line in 3rd place. That to make the podium. I mean, I said it before the race, like that was my goal, was to make the podium. My goal was to really, from the start, was to win and set the record. I learned, in the training and doing some runs at the course that probably wasn't going to happen, but I tried my best, and to come out with third, considering how the day unfolded, I was really proud of that. And to set a new PR, distance PR, was amazing. And of course to pick up the buckle, this beautiful buckle. Need to find a belt for it.
Yep. Wear it all the time.
So, yeah. As far as how the day went after the race and the next day, honestly, I was useless in the breakdown.
We didn't expect you to
Yeah.
participate.
But
my mom and I carried
yes.
that team.
Yeah, I should give a shout out to Sue, Jen's mom, for showing up and giving me the loudest cheers and support. That meant a lot. Just like, and then seeing her best friend Stephanie there, that also meant a lot. She brought a cool sign. So those two things, all those people there, like that just makes you realize like how many people are in your corner and are rooting for you. That really helps in those moments when it's tough. So thank you to them. So after the race, yeah, I was starting to really tighten up. It was tough for me to move. I started to get really sick because I think, you're consuming calories for 24 hours, you're running for 24 hours. Everything is just jostling around. I never had GI issues really during the race, which was great, but after it sort of hit me and I was just so sick on the way home. So I really just napped. And Jen drove home on arguably no sleep for the last 2 days. So
yep, we were with
she was blasting Hamilton on the way
home.
home.
Yep, Hamilton for life.
Yep. So woke up the next morning after an okay night of sleep, and I feel like that's when cloud 9 set in because I wasn't sick anymore. So I was just able to kind of bask in the accomplishment and really reflect on it. And I also woke up starving, so we went over to IHOP. I got a nice big stack of Cinestack pancakes, and before I could even finish the plate, I started getting nauseous again, so that wasn't fun. But and that lasted for a couple days. I really was struggling to eat for the next 2 days. My knees were very swollen. I mentioned the struggle I felt there, and they stayed swollen for 2 or 3 days. Really my IT bands, the front of my knees, really just patellofemoral pain, which is just kneecap tracking issues. So luckily they're all better now. Last time I did a 24-hour event, it was my ankle. This time it was my knees. So
always gonna be something.
yeah, you never know what's gonna break down. So good note for next time. Maybe do more quad exercises, glute exercises leading up to it. Kind of backed off of the strength training, I guess, leading up to the race. Just to focus more on running and keep myself feeling loose. But maybe I could have benefited from a little more of that. Anything else post race?
No, that's pretty accurate. But it was impressive. I mean, you were in pain, but you still were moving around. You did a good job. I think most people that run that distance, or myself anyway, I would not be moving the way you were. So even in pain, you still were walking into IHOP.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
So, thank you. I felt like even during the race, people were like, "Oh, you look great,"
Yeah.
and I just did not feel that way. I felt awful.
Yeah.
Awful. So
Looked strong the
I guess
entire time.
I'm good at faking it till I make it.
Yeah.
So
Looked strong the entire 2020.
also shout out Coach Chris, all the running form drills that he has me do, the strides, the speed work. I think that's why one of the reasons why you do that is so that you look better at the end of the race and you have good form. So again, thank you, Coach. I'm glad I followed those plans. So last but not least, I just want to give some thank yous. Along this incredible journey, there was no one who was more important and helpful than this one right here, Jen. Obviously, the 36 hours of setting up and being my crew chief and, filling up all my water bottles, fixing headlamps, helping me change my shoes, anything you can imagine, she was there for and crushed to a T. So couldn't have done that without her. but also over the course of the entire training. Like I said it in my last video, you know, she was so supportive, selfless, encouraging. Also, you know, told me when I needed to back off a little bit and to relax. But there were definitely times where like I felt like I was being a little bit selfish, and she reassured me that I wasn't, when really I probably was. But you know, she understood how important this was to me, and that's all you can ask for in a partner, is someone that supports your goals and your dreams, no matter how crazy they are. So I love you, thank you. And we got engaged during this training block, so that's cool too.
Yeah, all good things.
Sammy, thank you so much for showing up and being an incredible pacer, best one out there by far. It was a cheat code having you out there.
Yeah.
You're a great friend, you're a client, you're a fellow, you know, Night and Runs teammate, and just someone who I also look up to. And I hope that next year you can come out there and we can race against each other. So we shall see. But thank you again, brother. Coach Chris, thank you once again for all of the training, the knowledge, but also the support along the way, like the check-ins weekly, you know, sometimes daily at times. You know, you instilled confidence in me when I felt down, but you also, you know, kept me in check, and I'm just so grateful to have you. You definitely, I wouldn't be the runner I am today without you. So thank you. My dad for showing up. You know, supports me no matter what, and is my, you know, my biggest cheerleader, and never misses a race. Love you, Dad. Thank you so much. I look up to you and wouldn't have the work ethic I do towards running if it weren't for seeing how you work in your profession. So thank you. To friends, family, anyone who checked in during that time, I may not have replied in the moment, but I pretty much got every message during, whether it was text, whether it was a Instagram DM or a message on like the chat board or whatever in the app, like that, every one of those just really helps. And so I'm grateful for every one of those. So thank you, whether you're there in person or not. The volunteers and staff. ADU Anchor Down Ultra is the best ultra I've ever been to. I've ever seen, I've ever been a part of. I'm pretty new to this community, but what they do there is special. Jay, the race director, runs a very strict but fair and fun and exciting race environment. It feels really important when you're there. The people there make it feel important. The runners make it, fellow runners and participants make it feel important. And it lived up to the hype in every sense. And it seems like I've been there now as a spectator or a crew member for the last 4 years, and every year it's gotten a little bit better. And so I'm really excited to see what's to come. But thank you to all the staff. You guys are great, encouraging, helpful, friendly. And then last but not least, I want to thank my Nana. My Nana passed away a couple weeks before the race, and I dedicated this race to her. I thought about her nonstop throughout this race. Was she a runner? No, but she supported me and loved me, and always pushed me to be excellent in anything that I pursued in life, especially school. But you know, I just wanted to have her on my shoulders. And at times I felt like my shoulders were sore, and I said, that's Nana on my back. So this one was for you, Nana. May you rest in peace. And we're excited to go down to Florida and, you know, celebrate your life with our family this week, actually. So I might bring this one down and show you. So ultimately, that's all I got for this recap video. Any final words, thoughts?
51 weeks until next year.
That's right. Yep. So you already know I'm coming for first next year. Course record, we'll see. But I think now it's like, all right, you know, I've done a couple of these, made the podium in 2 of them, came in 3rd this year. I don't know who's going to show up next year, but I'm coming to win. And I came to win this year, but I'm even more confident now that I've done the race itself. So sky's the limit, I feel like. Going to continue to rest for this next week and ease back into things, but I can't wait to do some other races and fine tune so that I can come stronger, faster, and tougher for Anchor Down 2026. So that's all we got. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch you at the next ultra marathon build. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye.